Hi everyone, today in this video I am going to show you how to attach the top to our piston ring and how to make our little piston rods. Now when you do this, you should have already made your piston ring, alright? Then you are going to get your patterns out, the stencils that I gave you that are laminated. You can actually just draw right on the laminated items. If you're like me and have just plain paper because you left your pattern at school or something like that, then you need to make sure that you use your little plastic cover to go over top of your pattern. So what I'm going to do is to make the top of my piston ring, I'm simply just going to set it down. This is the side. Here's our plastic tube and our small plastic tube for the piston ring. Then this is the circle that we are going to use for our diameter for the top of the piston. So you're just simply going to take your pattern, place it over the top, or take your clear plastic, place it over the top. Then you're just going to go ahead, turn on your pen, all right? And you're simply going to follow along on your pattern and just draw the outside first, all right? So I'm just gonna make my outside circle, all right? And then after I do that, I'm just simply going to go in and make crisscrosses going throughout the top. All right, I'll turn it off because I already have mine done, but simply like that. So I can peel it off of this, and I just had it set on top of my paper, and it should end up looking like that, kind of like a little wafer. Now, when we go to weld this on to the top of our piston, a couple things that you want to remember. When you're doing this, you want to try and get it on there as straight as possible. So I find it easier just to tack, okay? Just to tack a little piece onto here instead of doing the whole entire way around. This way, I've noticed, I'll go ahead and start to do this. I'm just going to tack in one little spot where I want it. Let that cool for just a moment. Oh, got some stuck on my nail. All right, turn it, go about another quarter of a way around. Wait for it to start to come out. Again, I'm just tacking it in place. Turn it off. Let that cool down. You know, it only takes a couple seconds. Go ahead, tack one more little spot. So I just have it so it's placed on there exactly the way that I want it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and come back and I'm going to fill it in simply by going back and forth all the way around. Now, if you choose the same color, it doesn't look as sloppy. It all kind of mixes in. I have a separate color on here, so it might be hopefully a little bit easier to show up on the camera. All right. And you're just going to work your way all the way around with that. And if you need to, I mean, it cools really quick, so you can kind of use your fingers to push it down. Just be careful you don't touch it immediately. So here's what it looks like when it's done. All right. Like I said, if you use the same color, it looks much better. So that's one goal that we want to get done today. The next one is we are going to make our little piston rod right here. You need to make two of these. Again, you want to grab out your stencil. All right. Yours should be laminated. So we're just simply going to make this one and this one right here. All right. I'm going to take my little pattern and peel this stuff right off of there. And I set it over the top. Now, the one thing we need to be careful with, you're going to notice that they have these little circles right here. I need to make sure I keep those open. All right. You want that little part open right there and that little part right here. Because eventually when we start putting this all together, we're going to end up cutting some of the rods and placing them through there. Now, if you can't, I did this one on purpose. If you can't, after you make this, get a little rod to fit in there, here's the trick. Just take the tip of our pen, and when it's warm, and you simply just push it inside of there and kind of wiggle it around. You're able to see that? Push it inside there, wiggle it around, pull back out, and then see if one of the rods are able to fit through there. Because this is going to be moving up and down, all right, to move our piston head up and down inside of the cylinder. So we need to make sure we're able to fit a rod in our connecting rod. So when I do this, I simply grab my pattern, grab my little clear plate, place this on top of here. Now it's probably going to be a little hard to see, but I'm going to start it out for you to show you. I'm going to just trace the outside. Whenever making any of the parts, you want to make sure that you trace them the outline first. So follow that. That's the most important part, is the outline. I'm going to trace that around. And then when I connect it back to the start, then I'm just simply gonna come inside and I'm gonna make my circle, and then I start to fill in. Now with our connecting rod, we want it to be really strong, so we can't go crisscross on it. It has to be solid, all right? So it's gonna take you a few minutes to do it, but I'll show you what I have so far, all right? So simply, I would go in and fill this, make it a little more circular up here. But I drew all the way around the edge, then I came right in with the pen tip, came around that little circle, and then I just started going back and forth and around, and now I would just fill in this entire thing until I got to this end. I would make my circle, then fill that all the way in. So your goal is to make the two tops for the piston, okay, those two circles. Then you want to weld them together. So I have these. Then you would like to make sure that you have 2 of our piston rods completed, all right? So if you get done with this and you want to move forward, you can watch the next video. Thanks.